Anyway, I'll have you know to introduce me as Trendy McTrenderson. No more of this Jim Cornette. Everybody knows my name. We want to go where everybody knows your name. Well, go to fucking Twitter. Everybody knows my name. I'm now Trendy McTrenderson because it wouldn't stop. And folks, I appreciate your efforts on my behalf and spreading the gospel according to Corny and spreading my likeness and my image and my name around to the few people somewhere in the jungles of Cambodia who may not have heard of me. I appreciate everybody doing that, but goddamn, I trended and I know I didn't trend worldwide. And there's a whole big continent of Asia over there that probably didn't talk about me. But for the sake of the wrestling world, and however they figure that on the Twitter machine or the X or whatever the case it may be, I was trending constantly for days. And every time I'd try to get on Twitter and retweet some of the cult's pithy comments or tweet the fine work that we do on YouTube or here on the podcast, it took forever to slog through everybody just battering each other about the head and face with clubs. The people for me and the people against me. Everybody's heads was on fire. Brian, it's got to the point where you can neither tell the truth or state your opinion anymore without people's heads catching on fire.
About things they know nothing about.
About things that they're not familiar with. And people they've never spoken to. But yet, so what's left? If I can't tell the truth because, in the words of the immortal bard, you can't handle the truth, at least some of you out there. And if I can't give my opinions, well then, I don't know if there's a good movie line about that. Well then, what in the world's a boy to do? The only other option is to do what everybody else is doing in the wrestling community and the podcasting community, and either, well, this is two sides of the same coin, either lie or avoid. They either lie and say, oh, everybody's wonderful. All this shit's the greatest shit we've ever smelled right up under our noses, and lollipops to all because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, they don't want to make anybody mad, or they don't want to piss anybody off where they won't give them a job, or just avoid all the topics, which makes for a kind of a boring program. You know, you think about in the history of broadcasting, investigative reports, true stories, avoiding the issue. Which one of those doesn't really get over? So if I can't tell the truth and I can't state my opinions, and I won't start lying or avoiding, I guess I'm just going to have to sing. I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring. I love to sing about the soft wrestling fans and the soft wrestlers they like. We'll work on that and come back to you.
Please.
But, and you know, it's usually I trend a lot when we just release the programs or the YouTube clips because of the massive audience that those attract and the conversation they start. But I think they were especially upset this week, Brian. Apparently, somehow, I don't know, I've heard of reading comprehension being an issue facing America today, but I think listening comprehension is taking hold amongst people because everybody was saying, well, how dare he say all those things that I didn't actually say? As you recall,
he's horrible. He's talking about a girl. A girl.
Leave
her alone.
That's disrespectful, isn't it? She's a grown adult woman over the age of 18. We can't call her a girl, can we?
That's the way people react. It's crazy.
Well, but and folks, so you know, we're talking about Megan over at AEW, the head of legal.
Well,
the legal beagle.
Megha's her name, not Megan.
That's what I said, Megan. And what we were discussing was the impropriety, it would seem, the conflict of interest potentially that one would think would arise when the head of the legal department and the person who's been described as the number two in the company publicly by Tony Khan in the past, that was a part of the group who stormed into CM Punk's locker room back last September, and when that whole thing went down. Now, she wasn't leading the charge. She wasn't the first one in the door, but she was on the scene and bringing up the rear. That's pretty much been established that she was right there in the picture. And then she has continued over the last year. We've heard that she was involved in still in contract, not necessarily negotiation, but preparing contracts in her legal duties for people that were involved in that situation. That seems like a conflict on either side. And we'd also heard that, maybe all these investigations that have been done, maybe they weren't completely independent. Maybe they were still under the AEW Khan Empire umbrella. I mentioned that also that, since obviously she's close to the Bucks, maybe that was a conflict when she was dealing with things involving CM Punk. I said she's close friends with the Bucks. I said not as close as she is with some of the boys. And my goodness gracious, that wasn't pea-picking good for a lot of people. How dare you? You're slut-shaming Megan. Oh, my God. I had people saying that I said in so many words that she had slept with every member of the locker room.
You're gonna get sued. Watch out, Cornette.
You're gonna get sued.
She's the head of legal. She'll sue.
As a matter of fact, somebody tweeted that. He said that she slept with all the members of the locker room, and I retweeted that back. I said, I never once said all. And I don't know where these people, in their perverted minds, their deviant behavior in their real lives is coming out, and they're projecting. And they just think that apparently either they know something I don't, maybe, because they went so far with these accusations like they were trying to defend her, but they said that she'd pretty much done everything except the USC football team. And I never said anything like that because, Brian, I've got to admit one thing. Whether we like the wrestling or not, or Tony's booking or not, you can't tell me that there's a more professionally run pro wrestling promotion in the world than AEW when it comes to talent relations and lack of impropriety in talent relations, making sure everything's done according to Hoyle, as they say, and that there's no improprieties amongst the members of the roster or amongst the roster and office people. That would have to be a pretty shoddily run company to allow something like that going on. Imagine the number two in the company having improper and or intimate relations with members of the wrestling roster, and the number two in the company having inappropriate relations with younger members of the wrestling roster, younger than they are, when they have power and control over their contracts or legal issues. And the number two in the company actually carrying on in a manner like that with people on the roster that are beneath them and under them and subject to their wills. Well, that sounds positively Laurinaitis-ish. That could certainly never go on in a company that values its smooth talent relations and its complete professionalism backstage in every way, office and roster, like AEW. It could never go on, could it?
I don't think so, because I think if something like that happened in AEW, if there was a executive, male or female, who has had sexual relations with one or more members of the roster who were all younger and a unequal position, like you laid out there before, I think it would be reported to HR.
Who runs HR over there? The legal department?
I think Megha runs HR, actually.
Well, there you go. Well, she'd keep a good eye out. She would keep a good eye out for those whistleblowers and that information, because she'd want to know first thing. But anyway, otherwise than that, I appreciate everybody helping spread the gospel of Cornette around the world as you have by making me the center of attention. But give somebody else a chance. I'm trying to be humble and I don't want to be greedy. So 1 or 2 days this week, go ahead and talk about somebody else just for a change. Make it different. And I'll sit back and pet Harley and enjoy being out of the spotlight for a day or two before somebody else does something stupid.
It's like a fucking traveling high school, AEW.
That Rock and Roll High School. Maybe they could do that instead of. Well, maybe they could do that instead of calling it a wrestling program or having live wrestling shows. They could say, look, Rock and Roll High School, only the fight scenes.
Have you seen Rock and Roll High School?
No, I just remember the title, but it sounds like fucking AEW.
No, it's about Riff Randall, a big fan of the Ramones, and she gets to go see them, and Darby crashes in the crowd, and the Ramones play a great set, and then if you read the book, Please Kill Me, Dee Dee Ramone couldn't remember his one line, hey, pizza, it's great, dig in. And then the Ramones blow up the high school.
Well, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
All right, Dr. Van Nostrand, if you'd like to move on, we can keep going.
Anyway,